Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Amy from the channel AmyBeingMum. I have two girls, Caitlin who is 9 and Elle who is 1. Today's video is a collab video that I have made with the lovely Steph from the channel A Diary for Darcy. So Steph had suggested we do a video on our newborn must-have items, and it was really good timing because my sister's actually due her second child in just a couple of months' time. So we've been doing a lot of talking about things for newborns, and I've been getting things down for from the loft that I can pass on to her for her new baby. So it's a really good time for me to share with you my top 10 must-have items with a newborn. So my number one item is a baby bath, but it's not a normal baby bath. This is the one we had for Elle. It's a little bit dusty because it's just come out of the loft, and this is it here. It is a moulded bath, as you can maybe see in the camera hopefully. It's got a little bit here for the baby to sit on when it's lying down. It kind of holds the baby in place. It's got a padded area here for its head, and two rubber grip bits there for it to hold on to once it gets a bit bigger. And there's a plug at the bottom, which is really convenient for emptying out the bath. And this item, I didn't have one when I had my first daughter Caitlin, and I knew I really wanted to get one for my second baby because they are so useful. The fact that it's got the moulded seat means that you don't have to hold the baby quite as much as you would do if it was one without one, and it means that your hands are more free to be able to wash baby. So I'll put a link to the baby bath down below in the description box. I got that one from Amazon, and I'm sure you can find other similar ones from other websites. Okay, my second must-have item is a thermometer. Now I bought this thermometer. It's the Braun Thermoscan thermometer. I bought it when Caitlin was a baby and she's 9 now, and it's still going strong. I've had no problems with it, and I used to work in the nurseries before I had Elle, and it's the one that we used in the nurseries. It's very reliable. It's one of the most accurate ones. So this is it here. It just takes, I think it's one battery. It takes two AA batteries. You have to buy covers that go on them to protect it because it goes in your ear. So you just apply the little ear protector over it, stick it in the ear, and like I say, it's very, very accurate, and it can be used by the whole family, and it's been invaluable. We use it all the time for all of us, and it's really important to know when your baby has a high temperature because it can be quite dangerous if babies have high temperatures. And I've used the Braun Thermoscan thermometer on lots of different babies when I was working in the nurseries, and none of them seem to mind it. It's obviously not uncomfortable or anything for them. It is a bit more expensive than the other kinds of thermometers, like the ones you put under your ear, or you get ones that you press on your head. But like I say, mine's lasted 9 years, so I think I've got my money's worth out of it. So my third must-have item with a newborn isn't strictly an item for a baby, it's more for mum actually, and it is audiobooks. When you are a new mum and you're at home with a baby, it can be quite isolating, it can be quite lonely. You're home all day with a little baby who can't speak to you and communicate with you. You don't have any conversation there. And I found that audiobooks were really good. I put them on in the background when I was pottering about doing things like emptying the dishwasher or making lunch. They're really good in the car. And in fact, Elle found it quite soothing having the voice playing in the car when we were driving and things. And it's just like a little bit of company. If you find an author that you really like, you can download a few books from that author, and you know you've always got something there that you can just turn to when you're a bit fed up, or you're just looking for a little bit of company. And I prefer to have that on than having the TV on all the time. I didn't want to think of Elle getting into the habit of always having a TV on in the background. So having audiobooks playing, it was a little bit more similar to, I suppose, a person being there having a conversation. So I preferred to have the audiobooks on. And also, if you're going to be up through the night with a newborn, it means that if you've got the audiobooks downloaded to your phone or your iPod, you can stick the headphones in your ears and it's not going to disturb baby, and it's going to make it a little bit more pleasant when you're up through the night because you've got something nice to listen to. So my third item is audiobooks. So my fourth must-have item with a newborn is a car mirror. Now I don't have one to show you here, but I will put a link below, as I said earlier, to all the items, so you can go and have a look and check them out if you don't know what I'm talking about. But basically it's a mirror that attaches on to the headrest in your car. So when your baby's rear facing, it attaches onto the back of the headrest on their seat that they're attached to, so that they're looking at the mirror. And then once they're forward facing, you can attach it to the front passenger seat so they can still look in the mirror. And we found not only was it good for us because we could look in the mirror and see that Elle was okay in the back, and also I found that it really helped Elle. When she was a baby, she didn't really like the car which is quite unusual for babies really, but if you have a baby that doesn't like the car, she was rear facing, all she could see was the seat in front of her, and I found once we put the mirror on and she could see herself and see things going past and all that kind of thing, she was much happier. It was a really good item for us to have, it was really worth the money, and even now Elle's 16 months and she still likes having the mirror there even though she's forward facing. So she talks to herself and things, so it's quite nice. So my fifth must-have item with a newborn isn't strictly an item for a baby again, but what the item is baskets. Either baskets or boxes or whatever goes in your house, but this was my one, a basket here. I actually got a set of 3 from Home Bargains, and we had one in each house. We had one in each room that we use most frequently, so we had one down the living room, one in our bedroom, one in Elle's room, and we just had in some nappies, nappy bags, nappy change cream and some wipes, just like that. And it means it keeps everything together in one place. So when you come to change nappy, you're not looking about everywhere trying to find where are the wipes, where are the nappies. It keeps everything all tidy, and in the middle of the night you're not scrambling about looking for things, you've got it all together, and if you put it in a nice basket or something, it makes it look nice as well. So this is the one that I used. I also have these grey and white sort of geometric style boxes downstairs, so you can find whatever suits your taste and your home style and use that. And also when you come to leave your baby with a babysitter or a grandparent or something, it means that everything's in one place for them. So you can just say to them, everything you need is in this basket, and they don't have to go looking for things. Okay, my 6th item is muslins. So here's one here, this is one of Elle's ones. When your baby is a newborn, you don't tend to use bibs as much as you would muslins. They're so handy, you can put them under the baby's chin so that the milk doesn't collect in their necks. You can have it over your shoulder so that when you're burping them and things, they're not sick. They're just a really useful item to have for lots of different things. You can use them to clean their faces or whatever you need to use it for. Elle's got normal standard size muslins, but actually one of my friends has great big massive huge ones, and they're even better because you can use them to lay out on the floor as like not a play mat, but if you didn't want to put them down on a surface, you could put down the muslin first, and then it means it's kind of protecting them from the ground. Obviously not the hard ground, but if you were somewhere carpeted that you wouldn't necessarily want to put them straight onto the ground, you've got that. You can use it as almost like a change mat so that you don't have to worry about them making a mess on the floor. Elle now uses hers as a comforter. She cuddles it when she goes to bed with her dummy. So they've got so many uses that they're invaluable. Just buy as many as you can. So we had hundreds of muslins when Elle was little because we used them for feeding and everything. Now she uses them as a comforter, but that's probably about all. So some of the spare ones I've cut up and I actually use them for cleaning. They're really brilliant cleaning cloths, so they won't go wrong. Stock up in them and you can use them for loads of things afterwards too. They're also really good for washing baby. If you cut them into quarters, I just cut them into quarters and left them. You could hem the edges, but they're really good as little face cloths, or I wet them after Elle's had her lunch and use them to clean her hands and things. So yeah, they're useful for so many different things. Okay, my 7th must-have item is baby sleeping bag. So this one's a big one because it's the one Elle had at 6 months, I think, but you get them for newborns obviously. This one has no sleeves, but ideally I would have had one with sleeves. I picked this one up from IKEA. It was really reasonably priced and they just didn't happen to have sleeves, but I think Jojo, AmyBeingMum, they do ones with sleeves, and other places do, but you might prefer to have one without. They're so useful because when your baby is a newborn, well, I know with mine, I was constantly worrying about their temperature. Are they too hot? Are they too cold? Are they going to kick off their covers? Are their covers going to end up over their faces and things like that? So the sleeping bag, it means that you don't have to worry about any of that. It's attached to them, so it's not going to come off. It's not going to go over their face and they're going to overheat. And also they come in different togs as well, similar to like a duvet. So you can pick a summer one for summertime, a winter one for wintertime, and you know they're going to be warm enough and not overheating either, because they're designed for babies, so you know they're not going to overheat. And also because the bottom of them they're zipped in, I find that they restrict them just enough that once they start moving, that they keep them in the right place. So it's good to get them used to it as a newborn, so that when they're a bit older, they're used to their sleeping bag and they get zipped in, and that's them in for the night. Okay, my 8th item is a nappy bin. It's okay to upset. Oh. Okay, my 8th item is a nappy bin, or in America I think they call them a diaper genie. They're just the nappy bins that you get. They come with cassettes that work as like the liners, I knew that I wanted to get one. I didn't have one with Caitlin, and I used them when I worked in the nurseries, and I found them brilliant. So I knew I wanted to get one this time round when I was expecting Elle. So all I did was kept checking back onto Amazon to see when ones came up in offer, and I got one really cheap on offer. And as well, the cassettes that come with it, I always just look out for offers for them. And they're so handy. It means that you can have a bin in any room, because you don't have to worry about the smell or it being dirty or anything like that. Obviously you wouldn't have like an open bin with dirty nappies in it in like a bedroom, for example, but you can have the nappy bin because it's all hygienic and it's all contained. Obviously you're emptying it frequently, but it just means that you don't have to go down to the bin every single nappy change. So from that point of view, I think it is invaluable when you've got a newborn, because you don't want to be having to constantly go out to the bin and things. It just gives you a bit of extra work. So if you look out for one of them on offer, then it doesn't have to be expensive and they are really useful. So my 9th item is a feeding pillow. Now I don't have one to show you because ours are all packed away, but they're the pillows that are kind of this shape. I will link one below so you can go and have a look and see what I'm talking about. If you're breastfeeding, they are so useful because they go around your body and you can have your baby in to position them correctly for breastfeeding. I didn't manage to breastfeed either of my two, but I still found them really useful for bottle feeding, because it meant that it didn't matter where you were sitting. If you were sitting on a chair that didn't have like an arm support or whatever, you could use the pillow and you could feed your baby anywhere. So it was really useful as well through the night. If you are up through the night, which you will be with a newborn, if you're feeding your baby in bed, the pillows are really useful because it means that you can have your baby in the right position, and because obviously you're not going to have any thing to lean your arms on otherwise. The good thing about the feeding pillow is as well, once your baby gets a little bit older and they're starting to try and sit up on their own, it means you can put the pillow behind them and you don't have to worry about them falling over, because they've got the support of the pillow there if they were to topple. So if you're worried that you might not get the use out of a feeding pillow, you'll use it for ages. So I say that's a really good thing to get for having your newborn. Okay, number 10 is an item I'd never heard of until I had Elle. I'd never had one with Caitlin, and I had never heard of one. And my sister has a daughter who is just slightly older than Elle, and she used it with her, and she gave me a borrow of her one when Elle was a baby, and I've actually still got it. But it is a nasal aspirator, and this is it here. If you don't like talking about things up noses, then you might want to skip ahead of this bit because maybe it's a bit gross. But this is it. It is for sucking mucus out of your baby's nose. And how it works is this bit goes in your mouth and you suck, and the mucus goes up into this part here. There's a little valve here to make sure it doesn't go anywhere near your mouth or anything like that. And then once you're finished with it, you just open it up, and then this bit just gets cleaned. It all comes apart to get cleaned, but it's so useful. You just suck like this, and this bit goes up your baby's nose. And if you've got a congested baby, you know, like they won't settle and they're uncomfortable and it's horrible for them. So being able to relieve it with this is amazing. We call it a snot sucker, and basically it just gets all the mucus out and makes them more comfortable. So we've used it so many times. Babies often have snuffly noses if they're teething, if they've got a bit of a cold, babies just tend to get snuffles. And when you see how much more comfortable your baby is after using it, then you really appreciate it. So that is my top 10 must-have items with a newborn. I hope you've enjoyed watching it and you found it useful. If you have come from Steph's channel, A Diary for Darcy, then thanks for coming over, and I hope you will stick around and check out some of my other videos and maybe subscribe. And if you're from my channel, then please go and check out Steph's video with her newborn must-have items. I'll put the link below to her video and to her channel, and you can go and check her out. And thank you very much to Steph for suggesting this collab. It's been good fun, and I'll hopefully see you all soon. Bye!